Hi, thank you for joining me today for day 28 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. And today's sketch you can see in the top right hand corner there is by Shayla Gale Knowles. She's used one 4x6 photo and two 3.5 by 4.5 photos. I've actually changed that to two 4x6 photos because that's what I had, and these were the photos I wanted to scrap. It's from our trip to Boston back in 2015. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know I've got hundreds of photos of this trip still to scrap, so I'm slowly working my way through them. And this was the day that we went to the hotel that the Cheers TV series was filmed outside. It's just the outside they used of this hotel. The actual bar was filmed in a studio. So Ross was very keen to go to this, which amused me highly because he never watched Cheers, but he does love film things and memorabilia. So I was happy to oblige because I did in fact watch Cheers and really enjoyed it. So I'm using Vicki Boutin's Fernwood for this. I just thought the colours went really nicely. It's a fairly brown and gold picture with a bit of orange and blue in my dress. So these went nicely. And Shayla's put two pieces, angular pieces at the top and bottom of the page, and I messed up when I was tearing my paper and I tore it the wrong way. So my angles go the opposite way to her sketch, but it still gives the feel of what she's got in the sketch. So I'm just layering that up with another piece underneath. I just thought that would look nice, and tearing the edges and then just gluing those down. And the brown paper that I've used as the second layer has some white space at the end, well, sort of pale blue, and I just wanted the brown to show really, so I'm just carefully positioning this so that it's just the brown that shows when it's tucked underneath. And I didn't have much of this paper left, so I had to be careful how I used it, but I made it anyway, made it work, so that was good. And you will have seen at the beginning that pinky orangey paper I cut a much too big a piece. I think I overestimated just how much I needed, so I had to trim some strips off each of the pieces that I'd torn, but that's fine because they're there for another day. So just positioning the second brown piece now, and then I shall glue that into place with my wet glue that I always use. And then just trimming off these edges of the, like I say, the whitey blue bits on those brown papers that I didn't want to see. So I really struggled with the positioning of the two photos because Ross is on the right hand side looking slightly to the left. I wanted his photo on the right hand side, but because the way that mine's taken, it needed to be higher up on the page. I just couldn't get it to look right, but I got there in the end. So I'm just backing both photos onto some scrap white card just to create a thin white border around the edge. And then I'm going to find some yellow paper to mat them both onto because I wanted to bring a bit more of that goldy yellow that's in the Cheers sign in the background. And it was a beautiful sunny day, so I wanted to bring that sunshine in. So just trimming this with my scissors, and then I shall come in with the yellow. And I've got lots of scraps of this paper now, not so many whole pieces left. And this piece you can see wasn't quite big enough to mat both the photos. So I'm just matting the one of Ross on this piece, and then I shall look through what else I've got. I have got the 6x8 paper pad as well, so that always works for photo mats. But I'm just trying to use up some of the scraps that I've got at the moment. So that's the one of Ross done. And then, as I say, I'm going to look through and see what I've got. And as I start to look through, I find a piece that I'd punched some holes out. I've thought about using this brown first, but there wasn't enough. I found a piece that I punched some holes out just there. This was from the 6x8 pad, I think. And in fact, it's the same pattern that I've used on the photo of Ross, so that worked nicely. But there was just enough of a border around those circles to use it to mat this photo, so that was great. So I must remember when I'm punching shapes out of paper not to punch right to the edge, because then you can use it as a mat. If you've watched me before, you know I'm quite frugal with my supplies. I just don't like waste, and that's a great way of using things up. So as you can see, messing around with the positioning again, trying to work out exactly how I want them to go. And now I'm just going to use my edge distresser to distress all the edges on both of the photos. I just like the look of it really, and because I've got the torn strips at the top and bottom, I think this goes really nicely. I didn't bother with the white card this time because it's such a thin border that I've got there. It didn't really need to be distressed down. So almost there now. Remember to move my paper out of the way to do the one of Ross because the paper dust goes everywhere. It's a pain to clear up. So now I've got those photos in the position that I want them in. I'm just drawing around them so that I can have my mixed media underneath. This gives me an indication of exactly where they're going to go, and it also makes it easier once you've decided the positioning to put them back in after. So I pulled out this Tim Holtz mask from Stampers Anonymous. It's THS009. I forget what it's called now. It doesn't say it on the stencil actually, but it's got these lovely watermarks and splats. So I thought that was really nice for pictures of a bar. So just coming in with my Distress Oxide in antique linen and getting some of those splatters and ink stains down. Water stains. So just bringing the photo back in to check exactly where I want to position these splats before I put them on. And I'm really happy with how that's filled out that background there. So now I'm just going to come in with the same ink, watering it down and just lightly painting it around the edges of the photo, just so that it's not a stark white underneath that photo. And then I shall splatter some as well. There we are with the splatters. And then while that was drying, I wasn't quite happy. I felt like it needed something more. So in a minute, I'm going to pull out my dark room door abstract stamp, and it's just lots of little circles. And I'm stamping that with the Distress Oxide in tea dye, which is sort of an orangey brown. Again, goes really nicely with the colours on this page. So I stamped that down the left-hand side, and then I just came in with my water spritzer to try and oxidise some of those inks and blend it out a little bit. I didn't want too stark of a stamp on the background, so just using my paintbrush to help blend that out a little bit. And then I'll leave that to dry a bit before daubing off the excess water. So here I am just blotting it now, just so that I can carry on. I can be a bit impatient sometimes. So just checking the positioning of these photos. Decided to tuck the one of Ross underneath the photo of me because you didn't lose anything by putting it there. So now coming in with some JD3DPrint wood, the camera and the chevrons there, and then one of the the Hey Little Magpie flare badges. And now this is a really old My Mind's Eye clear sticker book. It was for pocket pages, I think they designed it for, but it's perfect for adding to your scrapbooking pages. So I just wanted to make an effort to use some of these up today. The black goes really nicely with these photos. So one sticker that says today, and then an arrow pointing towards the photos of us. As I lift this flare badge to stick it down, I realised that I hadn't actually stuck the photos down. So I quickly get those down before I carry on building up that cluster. And look, you can see those punched circles underneath there. Just making sure it's well stuck down, and then adding that camera overlapping the top of the photo. So next I'll come in with these wood pieces. I was just trying to work out exactly where to put them, but decided to keep them where I put them in the first place. Using my T-square ruler, of course, to make sure that they're all straight. And just my wet glue again, just to get those stuck down. And I always seem to do these in threes. Of course, there are no rules, but I just like the look of that. And now into the sticker book, and I just find this little flag that says this here. So I add that to the photo of me. And then looking through, I find this ruler, which I love. I like the pink. Cutting it in half because there's no point in using all of it. I'm going to tuck it underneath that photo anyway. So just carefully pulling the photo up a little bit so that I can get that stuck down and tucked underneath. And then I'll trim off the excess at the top and just pop that down underneath the bottom of the photo. And save the other half for another day. And it was just a bit tricky because I'd stuck the photo down fairly well and the sticker kept sticking. But got there in the end. So as I say, just tucking that extra bit underneath there by the camera. And then coming back into these clear stickers, and I find this little tab that says currently, which I think looks nice above Ross's photo. So just add that there. And then this arrow that says look at this. So I add that underneath the chevron arrows. And I really like how this is bringing the black around the page, because obviously James, oh my goodness, Ross has got a dark coat on and there's lots of black on the railings and things in the photos. So this is an old Heidi Swap sticker book that I'm also trying to use some bits from. So I just pull one of the labels out, cutting it in half to tuck half under this side of the photo and then the other half underneath the bottom of the photo. And then I'll come in again with another one, a pink one, and layer those. And doing exactly the same, just trimming it in half. Slightly offset it, just to create some interest. I don't like everything to be completely straight, so that's those. And then just having a quick flick through to see what else I can see, and then I stumble upon these word stickers and the colour is perfect. So first of all, this one, which I think I'm going to put at the bottom, in fact I move on top of those, on top of the ruler in the end, and it says living the good life. So just tucking that neatly there. And then another one that says Joy Seeker. And that just fits really neatly at the bottom there. So now I'm going to come in with my journaling. And the journaling simply reads the story that I said at the beginning, really. It just says, Ross was so excited to go and see the outside of the real Cheers bar, even though he didn't watch the actual TV series when it streamed, which did amuse me. Happy to visit with him, though, as I was a fan. So now coming in with my roller date stamp to add the date onto both of the label clusters, and then just finishing off with some little puffy stickers from the puffy sticker sheet, some hearts and stars and little dots. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this process video. Please do check the description box down below to see everybody else who's been joining in on this fabulous hop arranged by Christie. She's got a playlist, so it's very easy to see everybody else's videos. And other than that, I shall see you tomorrow for day 29. Thanks so much. Bye.